Hi everyone, a warm welcome to Portimão and the Autodromo Internacional Algarve here for round 5 of Ferrari Challenge Europe for 2026 as we look at the VIP Torre suites that are right in the middle of turn 5 here at the Portimão circuit. There is our formal welcome, and there is a different look at the Torre VIP suites. Round 5 then, having been to Le Castellet, Mugello, Spielberg and Le Mans, here we are in Portugal ahead of Budapest, which is round 6. Then Barcelona forms round 7, but not only round 7, also Finale Mondiale event as well. A packed calendar which has proven to be a real winning calendar for 2026, that's for sure. This roller coaster circuit of Portimão sees the weather conditions thus. Track temperature 38 degrees, air temperature 28 degrees. Now it's about 16 kilometers per hour of little wind gusts, which are just taking the edge off the heat and making it a hugely, hugely enjoyable place to be. Enjoyable, certainly being in a 296 Challenge car, but jolly hot, that's for sure. And there is Jan Sandman about to take to the track in the 186 car. He goes from P2 on the grid, and his driver coach is Charlie Hollings. You can just see in the white t-shirt, just at the back of the picture there, walking around Jan's car. Kessel Racing driver Jan Sandman goes from P2 on the grid. Ernst Kirchmeier is going from P1 on the grid, and that's the car that we're looking at now, with Marco Bononomi there advising Ernst how to deal with the start, how to make sure that he converts that pole position into the race lead. A 1:43.554, Nico, is a very good qualifying time from Ernst Kirchmeier. Nico, my broadcast colleague alongside me, we're in for another really good race from Copichel and Copichel Am, I feel sure.
No doubt about that, and it was really close, and Ernst needed every little bit of pace. He took pole position by 4/1000ths of a second over Jan Sandman. Is it going to be as close in the race? Well, it's certainly going to be close and action-packed, that's for sure.
We can see Tibor Valint, who's going from the second row of the grid, and his son, Benz Valint, is talking to him there. As to the left-hand picture of our picture was the head of our Ferrari Challenge and Corsa Pilota, Andrea Miladisic. And great to see some spectators here in Portimão to just take a break from the beach, maybe, and come and enjoy some awesome motor racing with the Ferrari Challenge. So I was mentioning Tibor Valint, the Rosso Corsa racer, who goes from P4 on the grid, and he has Sven Schirmer alongside him. We can see there the 108 car of Jean Rieu, and Jean is going from P2 within class. That's just not quite able to nail that pole position today, but Jean will do a very good job from there and could be a danger man, I would think, from P2 on the grid within glass. Two classes, Shell and Shell Am, then here in Portimão. Let's go to the Wild Wild West now.
My name is my own business. I suggest you tend to yours.
I go by several names. One of them is the shark. The rest is my own problem.
My name is Sven Schirmer, and I own everything in this Ferrari Challenge County.
My name is Fons Scheltema, and since 2004 I own everything in Ferrari Challenge County.
Awesome stuff.
You lost.
Von Skelterma and Sven Schirmer. Thanks, gentlemen. P1 and P2 in the Copa Shell points. Yeah, great stuff. Well done. Von Skelterma for Kessel Racing. Sven Schirmer for Penske Sportwagen Hamburg. It has to be said, Sven Schirmer has qualified slightly better than von Skelterma today. And there is Sven Schirmer, who I have to say, if ever you're going to have a try not to laugh challenge, Sven would be top of the charts, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Because he, from an emotional point of view, he can be deadpan for a long time, can Sven Schirmer. Brilliant stuff. Von Skelterma goes from P5 in class, but it is P8 on the grid overall. We bring you the grid in full, of course, when the cars are released on their formation lap. The Ferrari Challenge Autodromo Internacional Algarve here in Portugal. And the Shell drivers have a yellow strip across the top of the windscreen and a yellow color bar on all the graphics. And the Shell Am drivers have a black strip across the top of the windscreen and black features on the graphic color treatment for our Shell Am drivers, so you can identify who is in what category of car. So that mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers, we've got 18 of them that will contest this 30-minute plus 1 lap race. Race 2 of the weekend here with the Ferrari Challenge at the Portimão circuit, which is a real roller coaster, as I have mentioned. Just a little shot there of the paddock as our drone now picks up the group of cars ready to do battle on this circuit. Then Ferrari Challenge race 2 for Copa Shell and Copa Shell Am to come. Ferrari Challenge Copa Shell race 1 of the weekend in the Algarve underway. Let's go racing. Ernst Kirchmeier, Tibor Valin then right at the front of the pack as it roars, and they roar into turn 1. Jan Sandman trying to make hay while the sun shines, and the sun seemingly always shining here in Portugal, but great start from Ernst Kirchmeier, is able to get up the road and strive for Massaro Yaneda and Charles Chan. Tibor Valin having a real go here on Ernst Kirchmeier, but not able to get the car rotated, almost losing out to Sven Schirmer as well. And let's have another go from Tibor Valin. And again, not able to get the car rotated. Sven Schirmer in strife as well, almost losing out. Paolo Scudieri's having great fun overtaking Fritz Muller and is able to close the door and has made that stick. So Paolo Scudieri 1 place up the road. Sven Schirmer running wide, and Jan Sandman and Sven Schirmer coming together. Sven Schirmer's in the gravel, able to recover from there though, and strive for Ernst Kirchmeier as Tibor Valin goes through. The Copa Shell race that was being led by Ernst Kirchmeier is won by Tibor Valin. And for Jean Roux, it's victory in the Shell Am category. So those were the highlights of race 1. And we will see who will do what today then over the 30 minutes plus 1 lap. So here is the track animation then. Now, depending on how you count the turns, there's either 14 or 15. 4.583 kilometers is the length of the circuit. There are 6 left-handers, 9 right-handers. It's about 18 kilometers from the Portimão Resort Centre. And of course, it is here in the sun-drenched southernmost region, famed for cliff-backed beaches and world-class golf resorts. Some really rather nice scenery. Richard Mills' safety car will lead the cars away then on their formation lap. Indeed has done so, is doing so right now. And as I mentioned, we will bring you the grid in full from back to front. Louis Peruski goes from P18. He has Alvaro Ramos, local driver, alongside him, P17. These are Copa Shell Am drivers, Henrik Kamstrup and Paolo Scudieri. And Alexei Komarov and Massaro Yaneda going from P14 and P13. Fritz Muller is P12, Leon Rinbig. It was good qualifying from Leon. He goes from P11. Into our Shell drivers now. Eric Chung and Carl Rundfeld go from P10 and P9. Maybe Carl is out of position. Von Skelterma P8. Shintaro Akatsu, Shell Am driver, going from P7. And then it's Jean Roux and Charles Chan, who bested Jean to pole position in class. Now, Tibor Valin and Sven Schirmer share the second row of the grid, but on the front row, It is Jan Sandman up against Ernst Kirchmeier. It was very close in qualifying. Really rather feel it'll be close going into turn number 1 when the race gets underway, Nico.
Indeed, and it's a half-hour race plus 1 lap. That means in these conditions, tire preservation will be key, but obviously getting the best possible position at the beginning is going to be key for a pole setter as well as everybody else.
Racy day, a double pole in Portimão. It's something for the books, and there's a lot of place in the books for nice racetracks and pole position and so on. Yesterday the same, but in the race it didn't work out because of a technical issue, and today the plan is to bring home the pole.
That's Kirchmeier then, our pole position sitter in Coperchel, and as he says, even though he achieved that yesterday, proving that it ain't all done until some rotund woman sings with the checkered flag, it didn't go all his own way because he had an issue, and therefore it was this man that we're on board with right now. Tibor Valint, who took victory. There's Andrea Gagliardini to the right-hand side of your picture there, who is driver coach to Sven Schirmer. Ernst Kirchmeier being coached this weekend by former single-seater racer who we saw earlier on in the program, Marco Bononomi. Look at them champing at the bit here. Ernst Kirchmeier and Jan Sandman. Jan Sandman's driver coach, another successful driver, Charlie Hollings. And a lot of these drivers all have their driver coaches, Nico, which try and advise them as best. And one of the critical things is how to deal with a rolling start.
Indeed, you have to run through your grid boxes, you have to follow the car in front of you and be aware of when the lights go green. Sounds so easy. It's much more difficult in real life.
Absolutely right. All eyes on the lighting gantry then, and standing by for our Shell and Shell Am drivers to go racing here. Race 2, Ferrari Challenge, Coperchel Am then in Portimão. Held for a long time on the lights, let's go racing. Looks like a very good start for Tibor Valint and Sven Schirmer, who are almost able to get alongside Ernst Kirchmeier and Jan Sandman as they all go into turn 1 right now. It was a good start from Charles Chan and Jean Roux. Also, Tibor Valint is the one that has just been mugged at the start a little bit. Sven Schirmer able to get ahead. And it's Charles Chan, though, around the outside, look, and Jean Roux trying to get to the inside of Sven Schirmer. Von Skeltermar also with another good start, Nico. He wants to make his way up the order as we get a drone shot of this extended hairpin that is turn 5. It's Kirchmeier from Sandman, from Chan, from Schirmer, from Roux. Dropping down the order is Louis Peruscu, and a little bit of contact there on the back end of Massaro Yaneda. I think it might have been Henrik Kamstrup that just caught the back end of that car. There is Sven Schirmer chasing down Charles Chan, who's leading for Coperchel Am. Jean Roux is P2 in Coperchel Am, but it is Ernst Kirchmeier and Jan Sandman, P1 and P2, and I have to say Kirchmeier has escaped up the road like the proverbial stabbed rat, Nico.
Absolutely, there was, as we saw, that contact through the hairpin, but fortunately everybody...
Chauffeur Schirmer, forgive me interrupting you, I just saw him slow in. And Schirmer then with a problem potentially, or has he got it going once again? Because Jean Roux went through, and I just don't think he seems to have the prowess that he had a few moments ago. And I'm not sure what happened there to Sven Schirmer. Maybe just something momentarily, but for now, he seems to have overcome whatever the issue was. So it is Kirchmeier, Sandman, Chan. And let's put the lap in the book then, and you can see that Sven Schirmer has dropped behind Jean Roux, and he's now under threat from Tibor Valint. Tibor Valint on the inside. Sven Schirmer does close the door, however. So Charles Chan up 2 places, Jean Roux up 2 places, down 2, Schirmer down 2, Tibor Valint up 1 place, Von Skeltermar. So whatever the issue was for Schirmer, he's just driving away from it and driving through it, but Tibor Valint is tracking him for all he's worth, and Tibor now on the inside going into turn 5, and unfortunately contact is made with Sven Schirmer. That takes both the drivers out and into the gravel. That inevitably is going to be a safety car, because those cars are going to have to be recovered. That's turn 5. Both cars are stuck in the gravel. And that, unfortunately, is going to be a safety car. So Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valint then making contact. Tibor Valint dived to the inside and unfortunately making contact with Schirmer. That has played into the hands of von Skeltmar and, of course, a number of other drivers. Let's see it in replay here. Oh, and, well, Tibor Valint getting airborne as Sven Schirmer turned in to take the corner. Now, to be fair, Tibor came from a long way back there, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm sure that race control will take a look at that. As I suspected, safety car has been called for. Let's see it from on board of Tibor Valint. Here, there's a gap, and then there isn't. So there was a gap, then there wasn't, and both Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valint then taken out of the race. And that, from a championship point of view, is great news for von Skeltmar, who now is up to P3 in class, P5 in the race overall. So safety car fairly early on in this race, then Ernst Kirkmeyer leading from Jan Sandman. And the Richard Mills safety car will take the cars around. And yeah, really unfortunate situation going into turn 5. Tibor Valint coming from a fair way back to the inside of Sven Schirmer. There's contact between the two of them. Tibor Valint gets airborne. Now, that incident is going to be investigated after the race, I'm being told by race control. And you will see that on your screen in graphics right now. So that's going to be looked at after the race. And I have to say, race control choosing to think, do you know what, we need to look at lots and lots of different camera angles for that particular incident before we judge if and where any fault lies. What we do know is that it has taken Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valint both out of the race. So those two cars are going to have to be recovered from the gravel trap. And let's take a look at a replay of the race start now. As the start got underway, it was a brilliant start from both Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valint, who were both almost able to get by the front row cars. Charles Chan, though, was able to get to the inside of Tibor Valint, so too almost Sean Roux. And there, Charles Chan, he's having to run off the track there, but running off the track limits often not ignored by race control, but tolerated by race control, may I say, on the opening of the race. There is Farnas, who is Sven Schirmer's wife. Looking on, unfortunately, Sven is out of the race, and yeah, we're live championship. Well, there you can see if the race finishes now, von Skeltmar where he is, he'll move up a further place and now only be 2 points behind Sven Schirmer. So from our point of view as race fans, it makes the championship chase utterly fantastic. And von Skeltmar, the big beneficiary here. So some of the spectators watching on. Charlie Hollings there and Marco Bononomi, both with the headphones on and the microphone set. And you can see them talking to their respective drivers. Charlie Hollings talking to his driver. There's Tibor Valint. He's back in the garage already. Benz Valint, Tibor's son, looks on, and you can just tell from the body language of Tibor how he will feel about it. Alongside me is Nico Spalek, and I know you've been looking at replays of that incident, and it's one that I'm jolly glad that I'm not race control and having to adjudge that.
Yeah, no, I think how it looked from our point of view, Tibor was very optimistic if that was what his intention was to going into that turn, which I don't think it was. To me personally, it looked more like trying to dial out, but not being able to make his car disappear, and then Sven obviously had no other option than to turn in. But as you say, race control will have a look at that, they will have more angles, and they will make an informed decision. The fact of the matter, unfortunately, is that both are out of the race.
And from a championship point of view, from our point of view, forgive me saying this, just sharpened it up nicely. Do you think and this may play into, you know, Sven was slow. I don't know whether something had happened, you know, a few hundred meters previous to that. Sven looked like he'd slowed, didn't he?
Well, it certainly wasn't something that made him ground to a halt all of a sudden. So it may have been something that compromised him.
Missed gear or something?
Something like that in certain parts where he just didn't have the traction or whatever it was. Certainly something worth finding out after the race. And maybe that led Tibor to think there was an opportunity that eventually wasn't there. As we have a look at the Copa Shell AM Championships, as we're still behind the safety car, Jean Roux, obviously, even though not in the lead, he is in firm command of that chase. And once we get going again, we will be certainly seeing Jean Roux having a look at Charles Chan on the restart.
Jean Roux, unlike Sven Schirmer, is in, though, quite a comfortable position in the championship, isn't he? He's got a big, healthy points margin, Nico. Whereas Sven Schirmer now, we've seen with his, you know, being out of this race, all of a sudden, von Skeltermayer is within a couple of points. So you know, that makes the whole thing very, very different. Okay, let's take a look at the highlights then from North America and also from the UK. Because the Ferrari Challenge extends all the way around the world, including here in Alton Park in Cheshire, where Gilbert Yates and Bradley Yates and Manuel Agostna are having a fantastic battle in the Ferrari Challenge UK. Gilbert Yates that would be victorious in race 1 at Alton Park. All the way around the outside there for Joseph Dean as he's chasing down Mike Dewhurst. But it would be Gilbert Yates that could make it 2 out of 2. Racing continuing then right across the world, and that's also the case in our hugely successful North American series. And not only North America, but Australasia as well. Here we can see our North American racers then in the Ferrari Challenge. Always colourful spectacle wherever they race, and brilliant red-hot race action wherever they race. You can see Roy Carroll there in mode that saw him being overtaken, and Laguna Seca always delivers great racing. And we also race in Japan too, where the weather conditions are sometimes not quite the same as in North America and also in UK. So safety car coming in this lap. Safety car's peeled off. Let's go back to racing again. We are live with the Ferrari Challenge here in Europe now, having seen a brief look at racing in other countries and other nations and other regions, because the Ferrari Challenge extends all the way around the world. So as we settle down once again, Karl Runefeld and Eric Chung involved in a real battle here, which Eric Chung at the moment is able to show a clean pair of heels to Karl Runefeld. And there's Sven Schirmer and Andrea Gagliardini perhaps discussing what went on in turn 5, and the folded arms stance from Sven Schirmer, I think, pretty indicative of how he feels about it. Right, here's Karl Runefeld and Eric Chung side by side. Eric Chung is able to carry more momentum over Karl Runefeld, and there is von Skeltermayer. Now, Fons is in a podium position for Copa Shell right now, but 2 cars ahead of him are, of course, Shell AM drivers, Charles Chan and Jean Roux. So right now, Fritz Müller and Eric Chung are together. Now, Fritz Müller, once again, is a Shell AM driver by dint of the black strip across the top of the windscreen. Eric Chung is a Shell driver, so he needs to get by Fritz Müller and make the overtake. But the overtake actually is meaningless in terms of class position. But where it's not meaningless is it's knocking another one off the list and allowing him to get further up the road, Nico.
Indeed, and it would open up the door towards attacking von Skeltema,
Yeah.
and with 17 minutes plus a lap remaining, he would obviously prefer to do that as early as possible. As we take a look at the AM leaders, there is Charles Chan and Jean Roux. Jean Roux, our championship leader, is running in P2. Oh, Charles Chan running very, very wide there, and it almost allowed Jean Roux to come alongside. It was able to close the gap, but it hasn't. Oh, Jean Roux there with a sideways moment that thwarted any attempt into that kink. So down to the extended hairpin, our two leaders in the AM come.
Charles Chan is coached by Andrea Fausti, and Jean Roux coached by Marcello Zani. So two very experienced and successful drivers in their own right, passing on their knowledge and their benefits to these drivers as well, Charles Chan and Jean Roux. Now, Jean is in a, as we've just seen from the championship point of view, Jean is in a commanding position, but if you're a racing driver, Nico, you know, you're not for 1 minute thinking about what you've got in terms of points haul. You're thinking about that car ahead of me as a target, and I want to get by it.
Well, for sure. Jean Roux for a moment fell into the clutches of von Skeltema, but emerged from those once again and is renewing his chase. There is Shintaro Katsu. He is chasing a Shell driver, and that is Karl Runefeld. And there is Shintaro Katsu once again.
Shintaro Katsu driving the white and black striped colours, and Shintaro Katsu himself a very good driver. He's currently running P4 in class for the Nico Rapato Corsa Ram team, but of course would need to get by not only Karl Runefeld but also Eric Chung before he could get on terms with Fritz Muller, who's running P3 in Shell-Am, so he would be his next target. Interestingly, a driver that's being called out for track limits is Henrik Kamstrup. I was just about to mention track limits because a number of drivers have picked up one track limit warning. You can get 3. And once you've done 3, you are likely to pick up a time penalty. So the first of those drivers to pick up that penalty is Henrik Kamstrup. So we saw the 189 car of Leon Rindbeek. Leon had done a great job in qualifying. Leon Rindbeek is currently running P12 in the race overall. So there you can see confirmation of the time penalty that's been awarded to Henrik Kamstrup in the all blue coloured 296 Challenge car, who is chasing down Paolo Scudieri. So chase as much as he wants. He has got a 5 seconds to be added to his race time at the end of the race, which will drop Henrik down the order, regrettably. There is Stefano Guy looking on. Stefano Guy, another very successful former Ferrari Challenge racer and still very successful racing driver in other categories. He also acting as a driver coach too, and working with Paolo Scudieri. And you can see Jean Roux is really pressuring Charles Chan, but he's not been able to find a way by. And Formula Racing versus Kessel Racing. If you take a look at the team competition between these two drivers. And the gaps have been seesawing over the last lap or so, but Charles Chan appears for the moment to have the measure of Jean Roux, and wherever Jean Roux can make a move to try and overtake, Charles Chan is making sure that he defends his position, which is his right to do. He's got the track position. Jean is going to have to come from a long way back to try and make it work, and thus far has not been able to do so. You can see he's trying all sorts of different lines, Nico, which sometimes makes him vulnerable, and I mean vulnerable in terms of the traction that he has. Alexei Komarov and Paolo Scudieri here. As Paolo Scudieri goes through on Alexei Komarov, and Alexei Komarov now vulnerable potentially to Henrik Kamstrup and Leon Rindbeek, who are right behind. So good overtake from Paolo Scudieri. That takes him up to P6, I think, within Copa Shell Am. Reminder to you that black strip across the top of the windscreen means it's an Am driver. Yellow strip across the top of the windscreen means it is a Shell driver.
And there you can see that Paolo Scudieri has quite a bit of damage to the front of the car. Look at the middle and that is not quite an intact front of his 296 Challenge, as he is battling with Alexei Komarov and indeed going through.
Yes, that was the overtake on Alexei Komarov. And whatever issues he may have with the front of the car and the splitter, it doesn't seem to have hurt his pace, does it? Interestingly. So let's go back to this battle now, which is Carl Runnefeld and Eric Chung. Eric Chung desperately wanted to be ahead of Carl Runnefeld. Carl Runnefeld, for the moment, that P4 position. He has Fritz Muller ahead. Fritz Muller, of course, is a AM driver. So Carl Runnefeld would like to dispose of that AM driver and get up the road to try and put the chase on to von Scheltema. Is he going to dive to the inside here? King of the late breakers. Yes, he is. Is he going to be able to get the car rotated? I think not. So that was a bold and ambitious move, but what it has done, it's just told Fritz Muller that, do you know what, I'm here and I want to be coming through here. Henrik Kamstrup had Leon Rinbeek just taking a look at the inside. Here's the progress chart. John Roux up 3 places, Charles Chan up 1 place. So John Roux is ahead of Charles Chan, which we've not seen that.
No, we've been focusing on this pack, and I'm sure our teams in the production van will be looking to get that overtake, as there is so much going on in this pack among the Shell M drivers. Henrik Kamstrup in the middle of it.
And Ernst Kirchmeier and Jan Salmon are having a real ding-dong battle. You can see from the graphics there that they were changing places. I don't know whether that was perhaps a transponder issue.
Given it's 3.3 seconds almost, it would indicate that the possibility. Certainly no visual evidence of that being any different, but again, so much going on here in this race. And Henrik Kamstrup in the middle of that pack. Unfortunately, he has picked up already 5 track limit warnings, and one of that was costly with a 5-second penalty, so he's effectively out of it, but that doesn't mean he's not mixing it up with the other drivers on track.
Absolutely right. So Kirchmeier remains ahead of Salmon, but Jean Roux is ahead of Charles Chan in the AM drivers and has already picked up a 1.1 second margin. Charles Chan, though, sets the fastest lap for the AM drivers, and being told that both Thibaut Valent and Sven Schirmer have had a conversation with regards to the incident in turn 5, which will be investigated after the race, and it's all clear between the 2 drivers how it happened and what happened, as Henrik Kamstrup, carrying so much speed, goes through on Alexei Komarov, but he's not able to get the car rotated, or is he? Yes, he is, and Leon Rinbeek trying to take advantage of this as well, and so too is Alvaro Ramos, the local Portuguese driver who's on the inside of Leon Rinbeek now, so it could be advantage Alvaro, but not for the moment. We ride on board with Alvaro Ramos then, the Santagol Aruja Competicio driver. Into turn 5, heavy braking zone. Then, of course, you're climbing uphill past the Torre VIP suites on the left-hand side of your screen. Kirchmeier from Salmon, Roux from Chan. And we have just 10 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining in the Ferrari Challenge Copa Shell. Here is Henrik Kamstrup, then driver of the number 113 car, in replay with that move on Alexei Komarov. I was not convinced he'd be able to get the car rotated through that turn, but he was able to, carrying the momentum, kept it within the track limits as well. Almost to the benefit of Leon Rinbeek. Here is Carl Runnefeld. Carl Runnefeld running P7 in the race. The P4 within his Shell class. Still chasing down Fritz Muller, who's done 0 wrong, and Fritz Muller is out on his own there. And of course, Fritz Muller is in a podium place for the Shell AM drivers, running P3 at the moment. So he, of course, is maintaining a very, very good pace. We've got just under 8 minutes plus a lap, and now Carl Runnefeld just beginning to really heighten the pressure on Fritz Muller. And actually, under a bit of pressure too, is Eric Chung from Shintaro Akatsu. But again, it's a not with in-class battle. So we have AM drivers at the front and the back of this little pack of 4 cars. Here's Carl Runnefeld for Outer Roper. and Formula Racing's Eric Chung. Henrik Kamstrup, then it's Alexei Komarov and Karl Runefeld and Alvaro Ramos. They are running P11, 12, 13 and 14 in the race overall. Kirkmeyer now extends his lead to 3.6 seconds over Jan Sandman, has set the fastest lap. Charles Chan remains the fastest lap setter of the AM drivers. Alexei Komarov with a very big sideways moment there. Has that played into the hands of Leon Rimby? Yes, he's able to carry more speed. Alvaro Ramos perhaps also being able to take advantage, but no, not quite. So it's a big save from the Scuderia Prague driver in terms of just getting the back end under control with deft use of opposite lock. So Leon Rinbeek, who I have to say is every single race looking better and better here, and the Scuderia Fessa Graf driver doing a good job. So Kirkmeyer, Sandman, Crew, Chan, they are the P1 and P2 drivers in each of the categories. We're right on board with Alvaro Ramos then.
There's Alexei Komarov on the left-hand side running very, very wide, which will give him extra momentum, but that was a very wide line. I don't think that he was able to keep his foot down entirely the entire way, and Alvaro Ramos did not need a second invitation and has gone through, although he runs wide as well. I rather fear that might be a track limit infraction, but he got the overtake done way before, so that will stick. And in fairness, Alvaro Ramos thus far with only one warning on our timing screen, so he is still on the safe side. There is von Skeltermar.
You're absolutely right in that the overtake was done long before the track limit was exceeded, so that shouldn't be a problem for him. Once again, we pick up on Karl Runefeld and von Skeltermar then being chased down by Charles Chan now. Charles Chan has, of course, been overtaken by Jean Roux, von Skeltermar having gone through two. Von Skeltermar now target sights within the final 5 minutes, potentially on Jan Sammer, but Jan Sammer is so far up the road. I think it would take a big mistake for Fons to be able to get on terms. And this is how Jean Roux went through on Charles Chan, presumably. That was some time ago.
Yeah, racing room was left. Well done by Charles Chan. He tried to come back, and this is not all over, but then Jean Roux, through this sequence of turns, he had... Oh, wow, and it looked like we cut out of that very early, as that was a sideways moment. Jean Roux has kept that position, and actually now has von Skeltermar between himself and Charles Chan.
Sorry, Yaneda in the blue and black colours is a back marking car, as Jean Roux then continues unabated now. Despite that sideways moment, he was able to control it and hold on to it. Here is our race leader. Sorry, we've not seen much of him, but the reason we haven't is because he's 4.5 seconds up the road ahead of Jan Sandman running in P2. We've got 3 3/4 minutes plus a lap still to run. 3.689 when last they crossed a timing line, then the gap between P1 and P2 in the Shell drivers. For the Shell AM drivers, it is Jean Roux, Charles Chan, and look at this in the live championship points. There's going to be 2, but if it finished this way right now, there would be 2 points between P1 and P2 in the Ferrari Challenge Copa Shell Drivers' Championship points. Makes it very exciting for the next 2 rounds, the final 2 rounds of the Ferrari Challenge.
Absolutely, 4 more races to go, and don't discount Tibor Valent, because the next round will be his home race, so extra track knowledge, extra motivation for him, so lots to play for in the championship. And don't forget, yesterday, with only a few minutes remaining, all things happened at the same time. I'm not promising the same will be the case, but all I say is don't go anywhere. It's far from over.
You're absolutely right. I'll tell you what, Shintaro Akatsu on Eric Chung here. Shintaro just showing his face to the inside, but discretion the better part of valor. Eric Chung chasing down Karl Runefeld, but may only be 6.5 tenths between the two of them, but Karl Runnefeld is making his Auto Roper racing car as wide as possible. And for the moment, Eric Chung is, despite his best efforts, unable to find a way by. 2 minutes and a lap. The way it looks at the moment is Kirkmeyer, Salmon and Skeltermar, the top three for the Shell drivers. For the AM drivers, it's Ryu, Chan and Muller. Right, Charles, Chan then, as you could say, zero movement in terms of his position. Eric Chung and Karl Runnefeld really having a go. John Rue up 3 places, von Skeltermar up 4 places, up 6 places, Fritz Muller. And now Eric Chung, they're all getting involved here. Nico, just as you promised, things ain't over. And Karl Runnefeld, Eric Chung. Now Eric Chung, in trying to attack Karl Runnefeld, left himself vulnerable to Shintaro Akatsu, which ironically makes 0 difference, actually, other than track position, because Shintaro Akatsu is a Shell AM driver, Nico.
Yeah, but Shintaro Akatsu, I have to say, he took a line through that sequence of turns, which was quite unorthodox and very, very surprising. I think he almost made it 2 in 1. Had to dial out of it against Karl Runnefeld, but made it stick against Eric Chung. And Eric has lost quite a little bit of ground.
Yes.
He also sits at 3 track limit warnings. In fairness, there is not another Shell driver in striking distance behind him, so it's not as treacherous for him, but I think that little bit of contact maybe has slowed him down. And there is the battle, which is Leon Rinbeck on Henrik Kamstrup. I remember Kamstrup has a penalty, and
so Leon does go through, and as you say, it's almost academic really from Henrik Kamstrup. He knows he's picked up that time penalty, and Leon Rinbeck has gone through, and Leon Rinbeck showing a clean pair of heels to the electric colours of the 113 car of Henrik Kamstrup. Rinbeck then driving for the Scuderia Fessa Graf team, moves up to P6 in class. Henrik Kamstrup relegated to P7 in class, which will drop him further down the order once that time penalty of 5 seconds is applied for repeated track limits. And actually one more, and he'd pick up another 5-second penalty because he's on 6. So one more would be a disaster for him. Right. Louis Peruskia is on the back of Alexei Komarov now as we start the final lap, and Eric Chung has just lost out to Paolo Scudieri, according to my timing screen on the left-hand side of the screen. It's not updated the graphics on your screen yet. And now it has, so yes, on this final lap, Eric Chung losing another place, or has he got back by Leon Rinbeck? Here though is our race leader Ernst Kirkmeyer on the final lap with 5.4 seconds to the good. He's really not put a foot wrong in the entire race. And Eric Chung now having dropped behind Henrik Kamstrup. Something untoward. Time penalty is going to be awarded to Eric Chung as well for track limits. There is confirmation of that. So, here is Ernst Kirkmeyer then, heading towards another victory in Ferrari Challenge Copa Shell. By my reckoning, it'll be his 2nd of the season. He missed the first 4 races of the season. He's got one more turn to do. And then he will head towards the checkered flag. And it is unfurled awaiting him. Ernst Kirkmeyer then erupts across the line and takes the win. Ernst Kirkmeyer P1. Jan Sandman P2. And for our Copa Shell AM drivers, it's going to be another victory for this driver, Jean Roux, ahead of von Skeltermar, who takes P3 in class, P4 in the race overall. Then it will be Charles Chan and Fritz Muller. So a lot going on right at the end of that race. Some of which we saw, some of which we didn't. But we could keep you up to date with what was happening by dint of our screens inside the studio. So Kirkmeyer, Sandman, Skeltermar, the top three for Copa-Shell. For the YAM drivers, it's Roux, Chan and Muller.
Indeed, and if you look at the teams for our top four finishers overall, it's Kessel Racing, and you guessed it, Kessel Racing. A very dominant performance by Kessel, who really nailed the setup for this Portimão circuit this weekend. Very, very successful team effort. I mean, they are one of the most traditional and strong teams. But today, in particular, in this race, it's an all Kessel Racing affair. And Jean Roux takes the honors in the AMs, and he's not across the line, but it almost puts him on the threshold of a championship win already, by my reckoning, with about 68 points or so remaining over the remainder of the season. Dare I just say, a lot needs to happen between here and Barcelona in November for anybody else but Jean Roux to take that honor. But today it's Ernst Kirchmeier in Shell and Jean Roux in Shell AM, who will preside over the top steps of our podiums.
You're absolutely right, and well done to those drivers, but well done to each and every one of the drivers, without whom we wouldn't have the enjoyable race that we have had. And yeah, the cars will be heading towards Parc Fermé, and well, Ludovica, our pit reporter, will be standing by to grab our race winners and get some insightful words of wisdom from how they were able to convert their grid positions into the results that they have earned across this race today. Race 2 for Shell and Shell AM. So there the circuit in all its glory from our drone shot, and the cars making their way into the Parc Fermé area, where they will be greeted, of course, by teams who will be urged to afford their congratulations to their respective drivers. The applause already you can hear. That's Kirkmeyer, Jan Sandeman. They're parked up. So too is Jean Roux. Can just see Charles Chan coming into the picture now. There's Marco Bononomi, then Ernst's driver coach, to the right-hand side of the picture. He's got big hair, that's for sure, and congratulates his driver. Great job done. And Charlie Hollings then congratulating Jan Sandman. And nice camaraderie. Nice camaraderie there, which I have to say is true of the Ferrari Challenge. Von Skeltermar then, he's done his championship aspirations, no harm whatsoever by taking P3. Of course, his championship aspirations have certainly been heightened by the fact that Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valint were both out of the race fairly early on. But as I say, there's Jean Roux for Kessel Racing then, who is the star of the Shell AM class. What a weekend he's had. By my reckoning, that's his 6th race win in a row in the Ferrari Challenge. The winning streak started in race 1 at Spielberg in Austria.
Yeah, and if you look at the previous result with P6, 11.45, it wasn't indicative of what was to come, and here are the results for today.
There's Kirkmeyer and Jan Salmon, P1, P2. Then Jean Roux and Charles Chan, P1 and P2 for the AM drivers. They were ahead of Fritz Müller. Karl Runefeld, Shintaro Katsu, Paolo Scudieri, Leon Rimbig, Henrik Kamstrup, Alvaro Ramos, Louis Peroscu, Alexei Komarov. And then it was Eric Chung and Masaru Yaneda and Sven Schirmer, Tibor Valent then with non-classifications. So the backdrop then of the VIP suites as we hear from Ernst Kirkmeyer now. We'll be hearing from him in just a moment. Super slow-mo of the car, first of all, which is the Ernst Kirchmayr car, of course, the Kessel Racing engineered car of Ernst Kirchmayr. 4.9 seconds was his margin of advantage in the end over Jan Sandman, so it was quite a healthy win, I would say, for Ernst. A lot of the hard work done, of course, in qualifying. Let's hear from him now.
Ernst, congratulations, a super good weekend for you and for your team. Double pole position, unlucky race one, but today you made a very perfect race. Congratulations.
Thanks, Scott. For this reason, the weekend is solved, I would like to say. Yes, it was a good race. I didn't make a mistake, had a good pace. The setup from the car was also very good. Many thanks to the team, to Kessel. Had a good coach with Marco. So we worked together in a good way, and I also tried my best, of course, and today it was enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Ernst. We will, of course, be hearing from our Shell Am race winner as well. Funnily enough, also from the same team. And that is Jean Roux. You heard Ernst there mentioning the driver coach, Marco, doing a good job for him. Well, Marcello's done a very good job for Jean as well. Let's see if he is mentioned on this occasion as we hear from our Am driver winner.
Jean, congratulations again. Another important result for you. I want to discover how did you build this race, and if you put a lot of difference between and compares race one.
Compared to race one, I've made a small mistake at the end of the qualifying one. Today, I'm sorry. At the last lap, I was purple, and then I made a small mistake going to turn 14, and that just wiped out the whole things. And during the lunch, I was really depressed. But the team came up with this idea of saving the tire, the strategy to have a long race, and I think the strategy paid off, and in the end, we prevailed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from Jean Roux. Ferrari Challenge, Copa-Shell Am, race 2. As the cars are released, the lighting gantry, the lights go out. It was a good start from Sven Schirmer and a good start from Tibor Valent, heading towards turn number 1. Ernst Kirchmayr, though, able to convert that grid position into the race lead. Charles Chan going around the outside. Masaru Yaneda making contact with Alexei Komarov. You can see from the drone shot there. Strive for Masaru Yaneda. And that would be, this is Tibor Valent on the inside of Sven Schirmer. He gets airborne, and that takes them both out of the race. So Richard Mills' safety car called for. Let's go back to racing right now as Paolo Scudieri and Alexei Komarov side by side going into turn number 1. Paolo Scudieri, then the 101 driver, goes through on Alexei Komarov. Charles Chan and Jean Roux. Jean Roux determined to make it 2 out of 2. He gets very sideways but had enough momentum to keep ahead. Here comes Henrik Hamstrup on Alexei Komarov, and not far behind is Leon Rinbeek. Keep your eyes on Leon Rinbeek. Ernst Kirchmayr then, the Kessel Racing Shell driver, rounding the final sequence of turns to head towards the checkered flag to win for Copa-Shell, and to win for Copa-Shell Am it would be Jean Roux, 2 out of 2 this weekend.
Now we are ready for the first podium, second day on Portimão circuit.
Here comes the podium for our Copa-Shell and Copa-Shell Am drivers. Michele Mambelli, you can see right at the back of the picture there is the presenter that's bringing out the drivers.
The Shark.
Here comes von Skeltermar then, who takes P3. He'll be on the 3rd step of the podium. He is now just a couple of points.
Now the second driver on the podium, Jan Sandman.
Behind the championship leader. Here comes Jan Sandman, takes P2.
And the winner is Ernst Kirchmayr.
And here comes Ernst Kirchmayr then to the
Team
top step
manager
of the podium.
podium, Kessel Racing.
And Kessel, of course, will be represented on the podium, and so they should be, because it is
And we are ready for
1, 2, 3.
national anthem. the claps, our
So
claps
with
for
the anthem
winners,
playing
and the
out then,
trophy are
we're standing
presented
by for trophies to be
Antonello
presented
Coletta,
right now
global
with
head of
Antonello
Ferrari
Coletta,
Endurance.
who
And
is
also
our
the trophy for
head
Von
of
Skeltema.
global head of endurance, who is
And
making the trophy
Antonello
presentations.
Coletta
Antonello
for Jan
Coletta then,
Sandman.
global head of Ferrari endurance and Corsa Clienti. It's a huge title, it's a huge job, and he does it so very well, and he's handing the trophies out, having done P3 and P2, and for Ernst Kirchmeier is the race winner's trophy. Lovely trophies here. And of course, Copa Team trophy will be presented to Kessel Racing.
And now, please, Antonello, team manager, on the podium.
So everyone together for the photographs now.
On the first step of the podium. And the drivers present, lift your trophy. Okay.
Those are the trophies. Who's going to be winning the champagne race? My money's on Von Skeltema. Look, he's champing at the bit already. He's trying to almost push Antonello off the podium so that he can get to the champagne. Told you. Look at this. He's trying to hold on to Antonello. Oh, and that meant that he didn't win the champagne race. And I, to be truthful, didn't see whether it was Jan or Ernst.
I think it was Jan, but Fons tried to be in the supporting role, you know,
Yeah.
team player all along.
Brilliant stuff. So taking P3, Von Skeltema doing his championship aspirations, no harm whatsoever. Von Skeltema then. This car, the 186 car from Jan Sandman, was enough to bank P2. No mistaking though, the Kessel Racing engineered car that took the race win. It's the car with 106 on the side and is driven by Ernst Kirchmeier. Good job done. Well done, Ernst. Another podium to come, and that will be for our Shell Am drivers, but we will take a look at the championship positions, I suspect, before we see that podium. Here they are. Von Skeltema, Sven Schirmer. Look at the gap between the two of them. It's just 2 points, with Von Skeltema now ahead of Sven Schirmer. So, Von Skeltema leading the championship now. Still a lot of racing to come. 4 races. 2 in Hungary, 2 in Spain before the 2026 championship is done and dusted. Makes for a very exciting end of season, which is kind of what we like, really. Up next, here comes our Shell Am podium then, with Fritz Muller for Go Motorsport, Engstler taking P3.
Second driver
Here's
on the
Fitz.
podium, Charles Chan.
Charles Chan takes P2.
And the winner from Korea, Jean Ryu.
And John Ryu to the top step of
Team
the podium then.
manager, Kessel Racing on the podium.
Once again, Cassel.
Now the national anthem. Il nostro applauso, our
The anthem
claps
has
for the
played
winner.
out.
And the trophy are presented by Antonello Coletta,
So once again, we
global
invite
head
Antonello
of Ferrari
Coletta,
Endurance and
global
Corsa
head of
Clienti.
Ferrari Endurance and
The
Corsa
trophy
Clienti,
for
to make the
Fritz
trophy
Müller.
presentations. First of all, to Fritz Muller,
Fritz Müller.
P3. Then
The
taking
trophy number
P2
2
is going to be
for
Charles Chan.
Charles Chan, Antonello Coletta.
And then yet another victory for Jean Roux. As I mentioned, I think it's his 6th in a
The
row.
winner,
And that
Jean Ryu.
victory sweep starting in Austria. Well done, Jean Roux. I was having a conversation with him just before
Team
lunch.
Kessel.
Really
Antonello
nice and
Coletta,
polite,
Team
articulate
Kessel.
man to have a conversation with. And what a
Now
weekend.
please, all on the podium.
Kessel Racing.
And for the drivers, present your trophy, drivers. Up. Lift your trophy, okay.
And the trophies are held aloft by drivers and teams alike. Fritz Muller will win the champagne race. You mark my words.
class.
Antonello
in
Coletta
Portimão,
makes
and
haste
the
his
show
escape.
is not over without a champagne battle.
Oh, well, I was completely wrong. It was Charles Chan. I wouldn't give me a job in terms of predicting. So for Go Motorsport Engsler, Fritz Muller then with another P3. Well done, Fritz, driver of the 155 car. 2 podiums on the bounce here. Charles Chan then, bridesmaid today, taking P2 in the 133 car. Yet to have victory. That's not the case for Jean Roux, though, celebrating his 6th victory in a row in the Ferrari Challenge Copa Am. It all came good this weekend for the Kessel Racing driver with 2 out of 2, once again for Jean Roux. We'll also take a look at the Drivers' Championship points for the Shell Am drivers. Jean Roux then with a very convincing 53-point margin over Charles Chan, who's P2. Shintaro Akatsu is P3. Then Boris Gideon and Masaru Yaneda, Fritz Muller, Paolo Scudieri, and Leon Rinbeek. And the rest of the order you can see there in the Copa Am Drivers' Championship. Another 4 races to come in that championship between now and the end of the season. So we've been treated to, once again, another dramatic race with the Ferrari Challenge Copa and Copa Am. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed delivering it to you. Stand by, Trofeo Pirelli will be racing next. Well, hi everyone, a warm welcome to the Portimão circuit. This is round 5 of Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli for 2026. And we're standing by for the second race for our Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers to take to the track. So, beautiful weather conditions here, beautiful grid of cars in Portimão. So our 2026 calendar has included La Casale, Mugello, Spielberg in Austria, Le Mans in support of the 24-hour race. Here we are in Portimão before we head off to Hungary, the Budapest circuit, and then Barcelona for the final round of our 2026 calendar, which seems to have come around very, very quickly indeed. So we can look forward to a fantastic 30-minute plus one-lap race from our Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers. Track temperature is 39 degrees, the air temperature is 28 degrees. 23 kilometers per hour of wind, which are powering those turbines that you can see rotating at the back of our picture there. Mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers then on track. The Pirelli drivers have a red strip across the top of the windscreen. Our Pirelli AM drivers have a white strip across the top of the windscreen. Sergio Paula putting it on pole position for our Pirelli drivers, race winner yesterday, and Michael Verhagen putting it on pole position for our AM drivers. Certainly wasn't the race winner yesterday, despite valiant efforts from Michael Verhagen in terms of what he could potentially do. More about that during the course of the program. There indeed is Michael Verhagen, just with his eyes closed, contemplating the start of the race to come then for the Ferrari Warsaw driver. Some spectators here to enjoy the race action to come, and a little bit of wind just taking the edge off the temperature now. This is the driver of the number 17 car, Niklas Abrahamsson, his first debut in the Ferrari Challenge this weekend, and what a debut it has been. Podium on his debut, taking P2 in the race yesterday, and guess where he's qualified today? P2. So great job done by Niklas. Warm welcome to the Ferrari Challenge, and this young man could have a bright future in Ferrari Challenge racing, that's for sure, with a debut like the one that he has delivered. So fantastic stuff from Niklas Abrahamsson, and with a Christian name like Niklas and the success that a Niklas can have in the Ferrari Challenge, Nico, that can bode well, can it not?
Absolutely. Great name, and welcome here as we have a look at Max Mugelli, third in Pirelli. Yeah, Niklas Abrahamsson was only 7/100ths off the pace by Sergio Paula, and that belies the difference in experience and familiarity with the 296 Challenge, and that in itself is quite an achievement. So Formula Racing giving Niklas a great car, and Niklas doing a whole lot with it. And can he come around the outside at the start in a few minutes? We will find out.
Indeed. So great shot there of the 296 Challenge car then. And let's find out a bit more about one of the drivers that will be taking to the track, and he's local from the Aruja team, and that's Thomas Nunes Franco.
I'm Tomás Nunes Franco, and I'm starting my racing career in Ferrari Challenge Championship with FBO Araújo Competição. I hope to start doing some championship more with Ferrari, maybe start the Ferrari Challenge in the next year, the full championship. We are at Portimão in my hometown, Portugal. Some tricky sectors, but it's a very fun track. It's a good place to start my career, and I hope it will be a good weekend. It's very good to have this amazing support with us every weekend. 296 Challenge is very funny to drive. It's a good car to starting my career, and I hope so. Yeah, we'll have my family here and some friends. It's a dream coming true, my first race with Ferrari. I hope you follow us in this weekend with the Ferrari Challenge.
very creditable P3 he took yesterday. So, yeah, that's far from a bad debut either for Thomas Nunes-Franco, who's hoping to compete the entire season next season, and we hope so too. Spectators here to enjoy the race action to come from Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers. So, as I have mentioned, the Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, and also that colour affects the graphic treatment of the drivers as well. And if it's a white strip across the top of the windscreen, it means they are an AM driver. And you'll see the white colour on the graphic treatment also. Race 2 for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli then here at Portimão this weekend. And just 4 more races after this one before the championship is concluded for 2026 with a fantastic 2027 in prospect. The Richard Mills safety car ready to lead the cars away then on their formation lap. And the formation lap then is always the way we start the Ferrari Challenge races of 30-minute plus 1 lap duration. So every non-essential member of the team's leaving the grid right now before the race gets underway. Just one engineer left on the circuit along with their driver to ensure that the driver absolutely in the best possible condition to go racing at the start of the race then. And there the power plant of the car of Otto Blank, one of our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, driving for Lueg Sportivo Pro Racing. So, as I've mentioned, it is the second race for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers. The first race, of course, took place yesterday, Saturday, here at the Autodromo Internacional Algarve. Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli then and Pirelli AM drivers. Let's get ready to rumble. Sergio Paolo with a brilliant start, heading towards turn number 1. Great start too from Nobuhiro Amada, almost putting it to the inside of Giacomo Ronaldo. That was very unfortunate, taking out a couple of drivers. Bringing out the Richard Mills safety car. And Michael Verhagen, where once was looking so dominant, seemed to be under pressure. Giacomo Ronaldo going through, the first of the drivers to go through in the number 75 car. Then it was Nobuhiro Amada with a great overtake on Michael Verhagen. So Verhagen then clearly struggling as one by one drivers coming by. Another one to do the same. Danilo Dal Favaro, driver of the all-black number 9 car. Michael Verhagen, who was leading Pirelli AM, defending for all he was worth. However, as I say, so many cars managing to get past Michael Verhagen. And Otto Blank, driver of the number 71 296 challenge car, goes through as well. Sergio Paolo back to winning ways for Pirelli. And for Pirelli AM, it would be Giacomo Ronaldo that would be victorious. Let's take a look at this fantastic circuit then here. It's about 18 kilometers from the Portimão Resort Centre, 85 kilometers or so from Faro. 4.583 kilometers, the length of the circuit, 15 turns, 6 left, 9 of them are right. And, of course, it is situated in the Algarve, Portugal's sun-drenched southernmost region, famed for cliff-backed beaches, world-class golf resorts, fresh seafood, and some brilliant racing. Now, to put some meat on the bones of Michael Verhagen, as we saw from the highlights, he struggled yesterday. The reason he struggled was his rear tyres, literally, the rubber had gone. He was running it on the steel bands, honestly. Juha Turalba going from P10. Alongside him is Otto Blank. It's Danilo Dal Favaro and Thomas Nunes-Franco on the next row of the grid. Going from P6 on this grid is Nobuhiro Imada with Max Mugelli alongside. Then it is Giacomo Rinaldo and Michael Verhagen, who'll be a danger man from P3. On the grid, Nicolas Abrahamsen and Sergio Paulet then, the two Pirelli drivers on the front row of the grid. Let's hear from our pole sitter then, and that is Sergio Paulet.
Very happy to have this second consecutive pole. It was a long time ago. I didn't did the 2 poles in a row, so very happy. It was difficult because the car felt different from yesterday. It was sliding a little bit. I don't know if it's the track temp or maybe the air, but it was feeling different. And in the race, I will probably try the same as yesterday. The difference is I have a Pirelli driver on my side, so it's a little bit different. Yesterday was 2 arms behind me, 1 arm on my left side. So, but the strategy is going to be the same. We are going to try to stay P1 on the start, and then try to manage the pace, and hopefully to get another P1 for today.
What can Nicolas Abrahamsen do, Nico Spalek alongside me, to best Sergio Paulet going into turn 1?
That is a tough question, and I mean, I think Nicolas Abrahamsen giving the novelty to the championship, and he will probably focus on what he can do, just monitoring, watching what Sergio Paulet does, and if he finds himself alongside at the right moment, he'll just pounce. But Sergio Paulet certainly is wise to not discard or discount the driver alongside just because of lack of experience.
Yes, I think that's a fair point. Well done. The other danger man here, in my opinion, could be Michael Verhagen. But of course, Giacomo Rinaldo would like to be back on the top step of the podium, and see what he will be able to do about that. So Richard Mills' safety car will peel off into the pit lane. Then it will be all eyes on the lighting gantry as we are ready to go racing with our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. Sergio Paulet, Nicolas Abrahamsen side by side then. There is Michael Verhagen and Giacomo Rinaldo. All eyes on the lighting gantry then. Let's get ready to race. All drivers have to go through their grid boxes. The lights remain red. When the lights go out, we can race. Let's race now. Great start from Sergio Paulet. Good start too from Michael Verhagen. And you can see there how Nicolas Abrahamsen was just closing in to seal the inside line. But Michael Verhagen has been able to take advantage of that and finds himself now chasing down Sergio Paulet. So that has given him the cushion of a Trofeo Pirelli driver between himself and Giacomo Rinaldo as Nobuhiro Imada tries to get the better of Giacomo Rinaldo, and I think he's done that. So great start from Giacomo Rinaldo, and making great moves right from the start of the race is Juha Turalba, the Emil Frey München driver. So into turn 5 for the first time of asking then. Just look at Juha Turalba making his way up the order then. So to Danilo Del Favaro. So, whether it was Pirelli or Pirelli Am drivers, whichever one is your favourite driver, then wish them well. And Sergio Paulet then nailing the start perfectly. Michael Verhagen also taking advantage of a good start, putting himself ahead of Nicolas Abrahamsen. Now Nobuhiro Imada is up to P2, got by Giacomo Rinaldo. Nobuhiro Imada, Max Mugelli then, and he's been chased by Danilo Del Favaro and also Juha Turalba, who's already got past Otto Blank and Thomas Nunes Franco in the space of just the first few corners. So we're about to put the first lap in the book, and already Sergio Paulet has broken away from the rest of the pack, and it will be interesting when he crosses the timing line. We'll give you a live gap. It's going to be just over a second, I would think. 1.206. Wasn't a bad guess. Ahead of Michael Verhagen, then Nicolas Abrahamsen. Look at the progress chart on the left-hand side of the screen. Juha Turalba up 2 places. Also up 2 places, Nobuhiro Imada. This was the start then. Keep your eyes on Verhagen here. He had a brilliant start. Whilst Abrahamsen tried to dial into the inside line, Michael Verhagen had got just enough momentum to go around the outside, so a good opportunistic spot there from Michael Verhagen. Let's see what it was like from being on board. He had clear and full confidence in the grip that would be afforded to him through turn 1, which I think would be a huge amount of grip in comparison to what he was trying to have to deal with at the end of the race yesterday, as we saw in the highlights just a few moments ago. So it's Paula from Verhagen from Abrahamsen, then it's Amado, Ronaldo, Micheli, Del Favaro, Torralba, Nunes Franco and Otto Blank. That's the way it looks.
Yeah, and there is Niklas Abrahamsen, who is now clinging to Michael Verhagen and trying to use the slipstream. And as there is Torralba having a look on the inside on the Danilo Del Favaro car, nothing doing there. Abrahamsen, as you said, he tried to be right behind Sergio Paulet, and it is exactly the word you used, confidence, that Michael Verhagen had. As
Torralba, I said, is going to be one to watch. My goodness, Nico, he's having a go here.
Yeah, and he's trying again, double, triple switchback, and I think he's now in the better position. The two are not giving each other, they're giving each other enough room, and Danilo Del Favaro more momentum into that turn, and indeed makes it stick and regains the position. So what is the gap? 1.3 seconds at the front, but Abrahamsen is only 3.5 tenths behind Verhagen.
Healthy respect between Danilo Del Favaro and Juha Torralba, and what's happened here is it's allowed Thomas Nunes Franco to get back into this mix and try and take it to Juha Torralba. So good respectful driving between all of them at the moment. Torralba, though, is certainly really impressive to watch currently. So Paula, 1.7 seconds to the good over Michael Verhagen, then Niklas Abrahamsen, then Nobuhiro Amada and Giacomo Ronaldo. There is, you can see in the backdrop, taking some water on board, is Jan Sandman, who is a Cobra Shell driver, and actually in the front of the picture was Giacomo Altoe, driver coach. So Sergio Paula, 1.7 seconds to the good over Verhagen. Thomas Nunes Franco now is chasing Juha Torralba. So all of a sudden Juha has gone from attacking into defending and is having to make his 296 challenge quite a bit wider than previously. And Danilo Del Favaro is able to breathe a sigh of relief just for the moment, because the threat from Juha Torralba for that P7 place has gone away. But I think it's only gone away temporarily, because just as I say that, he's able to reel in the Danilo Del Favaro car once again.
Yeah, it's seesawing a little bit, and different lines taken through there. Is Michael Verhagen ahead and Abrahamsen behind him. Great onboard shot there.
Lights being flashed by the car of Niklas Abrahamsen. Now, what good does that do? Well, what he's trying to do is just break the break the focus, if you will, the concentration, if you will, of Michael Verhagen, just for a moment to allow him to go through. And there is Michael Verhagen in the all-black OK liveried car, and Niklas Abrahamsen right behind. Now, from Michael Verhagen's point of view, there's kind of no point defending. And in fairness, I think he didn't defend. He allowed Niklas Abrahamsen to go through. The reason for that, Nico, is, of course, Michael Verhagen is an AM driver, and Niklas Abrahamsen is a Pirelli driver. So it was a non-within-class battle, and therefore it wasn't necessary to defend too steadfastly. Nothing to be gained, really.
Yeah, but Abrahamsen put himself in that position, and that means he now has clear line of sight to the front. It is too clear by his liking, I'm sure, 2.6 seconds, but he caught up on Sergio Paulet in the second half of the race yesterday before Paulet pulled away eventually. So maybe something
take a look at this. This wasn't defended at all. Michael just said, do you know what? I'm not going to fight you. There's no point. You go through. You're a Pirelli driver, you're not in my class, it doesn't matter. What has done, though, of course, is it has allowed Hero Amada clear sight in the same way that Abrahamsen now has clear sight of Paula. So too Amada has on Verhagen, but I suspect that Michael feels he's got enough of a gap.
Yeah, and he also, sorry.
Through the speed camera they go. And there's Juha Torralba then, who's just reeled in Danilo Del Favaro once again. We run the telemetry on both of the cars, and Danilo Del Favaro has actually not been taken advantage of by Juha Turalba, who is marginally quicker, but as we saw just a couple of laps ago, Danilo Del Fabro is not shy of sticking his elbows out and making that car a little bit wider than it needs to be in terms of defending his track position, which of course is his right to so do.
For sure. I think for Argan, just to go back to that thought process, I think he will feel like taking the slipstream of Abrahamsen will give him a benefit. Fighting and taking a defensive line will actually throw him back into the clutches of Nobuhiro Imada, more likely if at some point an overtake happens. So it is that thinking part of racing. It's the skill that is of utmost importance, but the strategy and the rationale is a very significant element of that.
Fair point. See Danilo Del Favro just at the back end of the car looking a little bit loose as he continues up the road ahead of Juha Turalba. Paula and Abrahamsen then 3.2 seconds is the gap that's between those two. The gap between Danilo Del Favro and Juha Turalba is altogether different, more like 6 or 7 tenths, I would suggest. Last time they were over a timing line, it was 6.36 tenths. See from the left-hand side of the screen. Here comes Turalba now. Is he close enough? I don't think he is quite to be able to put a move on Danilo Del Favro going onto the inside line of turn 1. He'll get the benefit slightly of a draft off the Danilo Del Favro car, but sure enough, not close enough to be able to go into turn 1 and take advantage. So for the moment, Danilo Del Favro can breathe a sigh of relief, but also joining into the battle now is Thomas Nunes Franco. So it could become a three-way fight for P7 in the race overall, but it becomes a three-way fight for P4 in the Pirelli AM race, of which there is 20.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. 5 tenths then between Turalba and Del Favro. So Turalba doing everything he can, but Danilo Del Favro doing a good job of defending his place and not really being threatened too much as far as he's concerned by Juha Turalba. It would appear it's so easy just to make a mistake with the pressure of someone right behind you, breathing down your neck. And there is Giacomo Altoe then, who's actually very quiet on the radio and just allowing the driver to do what driver needs to do. But now Turalba is closer than he has been, Nico, for some time.
Yeah, and Danilo Del Favro really had to stick on the inside of the curb and just make sure that there was no 296 challenge wide gap there for Turalba to capitalize on. But that obviously also means he's a little bit slower, a little bit of a sideways moment, as you say, and now they could be side by side across the line.
Absolutely. Turalba took advantage of the mistake that Danilo Del Favro made. He caught the curb. That unsettled the car a little bit. That means that Turalba's got the inside line, but under braking, Turalba was not able to make it stick, and now Turalba is going to be under some strife and some pressure now from Nunes Franco as he tries to dive to the inside. Racing room is left. Healthy respect between the two drivers. Danilo Del Favro rubs his hands with invisible soap, Nico, because he has just been able to use his get-out-of-jail-free card, frankly, and that was brought about by Nunes Franco up in the ante on Turalba just at the right moment.
Indeed, he ran a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1. I'm sure race control, well, just as I say that, track limit warning is issued to Del Favro, but it is his first one. He can easily live with that. As we take a look at the live championship, Michael Verhagen not only leading the race in the AMs, this is the AM championship, but also leading the charge. But we can't really look too much at the graphics because things are happening.
Oh, and that's a mistake from Del Favro, and that's a bit more of a terminal mistake, I would say, because through has gone Juha Turalba, and Juha Turalba up the road, and you can see now that he's almost been released as a cork in the bottle has been released. Danilo Del Favro is about to be mugged here potentially by the number 67 car of Thomas Nunes Franco as well. So Del Favro, after lap after lap, after defending so well, Juha Turalba now has escaped up the road in the space of but a few hundred meters of tarmac by about 8 or 9 car lengths. And here now, looking at the inside line, is Thomas Nunes Franco. But Danilo Del Favro is able to get into that turn 1 without the threat of Nunes Franco. In replay, that was it. He just caught the curb. That unsettled the car. He wasn't able to save it, Nico. And that was just enough.
Yeah, that was just the invitation that he needed. Del Favro recovered and kept at least position number 5 or number 6 in class. And now that has changed again, because now he lost that position and Nunes Franco has gone through. And maybe that's a testament of maybe the handling of the car not being quite where Danilo Del Favro expected it to be. Maybe a replay of that.
Here it is, the overtake that we didn't see, as Nunes Franco was just... To be fair, the gap was there, wasn't it? He was always going to take it. Danilo Del Favro, I think you're right. I think the car is not handling. Perhaps the grip is not there that he had hoped. Just wonder whether he expended a bit more of the tyres in qualifying rather than those drivers around him, and that is not paying dividends for him right now. So here's our race leader. Forgive us, you've not seen so much of Sergio Paulet. The reason for that is he's 3.5 seconds to the good over Nicholas Abrahamsen, who you can see now. However, Nicholas Abrahamsen last time around delivered a 1:44.511, which was almost 2 seconds quicker than Sergio Paulet. Did Paulet make a mistake?
It looks like the final sector there was something. And
yeah, look at that. Big sideways moment for Sergio Paulet. And that's why Nicholas Abrahamsen has been able to get so much closer. So Sergio Paulet, and that just proves that, you know, you can just get up the road, but things happen. And certainly something happened there to Sergio Paulet that will have shaken his confidence just a little bit. And Nicholas Abrahamsen will be made aware of that. They will have said to him, look, you know, there's some pressure. Keep the pressure on, because it could make him make a mistake here.
Yeah, and Paulet said in his pole setter interview that he felt the car was sliding a little bit more than it was yesterday. Was that just a fluke incident, or is that maybe something, a precursor of things to come? Well, we still have half the race remaining, yes. So certainly something to watch. He has accelerated again, and he's stretched his legs again by a couple of tenths, but certainly Sergio Paulet will feel like maybe there are a few spots where he will be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So let's see now if Nicholas Abrahamsen can really maintain... You know, if he just keeps on doing what he's doing a good job, but it's not enough. That proves the point that he almost needs a mistake or some other intervention, if you will, to allow him to get a bit closer to Sergio Paulet. You know, safety car would be ideal, wouldn't it, for Paulet to lose his lead and for Abrahamsen to be advantaged by that. But Nobuhiro Imada, Nico, is all of a sudden got Giacomo Ronaldo up his trumpet. So, where Nobuhiro Imada was looking pretty comfortable in second, you can see from the graphics at the bottom of your screen, Giacomo Ronaldo is significantly quicker now, and all of this, I think, is going to be about tyre degradation.
Yes, very likely, and we saw that Nobuhiro Imada pushed all the way until the end of qualifying this morning.
Yes.
Is that a factor? We don't quite know, but there are certainly indications. And Giacomo Ronaldo, as you said, now he's really, really in striking distance.
Now, Nobuhiro Imada has got so much racing experience. He certainly knows how to defend his position, but Giacomo Ronaldo has been something of a revelation from Rosso Corsa in the Ferrari Challenge, with a couple of podiums, and he took a race win in Le Mans, Nico, which is no mean feat with a huge entry of cars. So, yeah, he's got talent. There's no question about that, but Nobuhiro Imada has got years and years and years of experience. So, as I say, he knows how to defend his position. But what he can't do is apply more rubber to the tyres than there is.
That's a very fair point. How balanced are our contestants? For example, in Pirelli, exactly same sector times between Paulet and Abrahamsen last time around. So that lead is around 2 seconds, and that's a little bit more than between those two contestants we watched, as Rinaldi has lost just a little bit, so not in striking distance as they cross the line. Niklas Abrahamsen has reduced the deficit to 1.49 seconds, so it's not over at all. This race, which the battles had formed and then the drivers had gapped themselves quite significantly, is now seesawing and coming together again.
Yeah, it's game on, isn't it? And I think I'm seeing Paulet's car just slide in a bit more, Nico, than maybe Abrahamsen's car. It might just be that I'm seeing it because I want to see it. Just a little bit of sideways on the exit of turn 5. Abrahamsen is just looking a little bit smoother, perhaps. I don't know. Perhaps I'm imagining these things. But what is not being imagined is the 1.373 margin between P1 and P2. So that gap we keep our eyes on every time they cross a timing line. It gives us an update in terms of the time between P1 and P2.
As we see that Juha Turalba seems to have dropped down the order, we will keep an eye on that as well, as the gap is now 1.6 seconds out front. And
so it's seesawing again, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see the gap here between Imada and Rinaldo. It's negligible. And there is the gap evolution. Turalba has recovered, but he lost half a minute in that first sector, so must have been going somewhere else off the track.
So the Rosso Corsa team, you could see on their pit wall, and the Rosso Corsa team driving and engineering Giacomo Rinaldo as once again he sizes up Nobuhiro Imada ahead.
This is closer than it was last time around for sure. You can see it. I think Nobuhiro Imada will be wise of that. I think he's just enough of a gap, but we've seen moves being made into turn number 3 off the pace of the start-finish straight. Nobuhiro Imada can't afford to make a mistake, and he doesn't make a mistake. Keeps it nice, calm and controlled.
Years and years and years of experience playing out. So it is Paulet from Abrahamsen leading and P2 in the race. But for P2 in the AM race, this is the fight that's going on between Nobuhiro Imada and Giacomo Rinaldo. And what a race it is that we are enjoying between these two drivers. Juha Turalba, you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, is now 49.3 down. So something happened to Juha.
Yeah, and he is still slow. Again, second sector, only at half speed effectively, so almost expecting him to maybe come into the pit lane, whatever the reason was. He is certainly not at race pace anymore.
So Nobuhiro Imada then, again, just the back end of the car, I think, looking a little bit loose, and I just think that Giacomo Rinaldo is looking a bit smoother here, but Nobuhiro Imada having to fight with the car to defend, of course. They accelerate out. Here is Nicholas Abrahamsen and Sergio Paulet with the gap now down to just less than a second when they cross the timing line this time around. So Abrahamsen, who's being super smooth, Nico, and I think Sergio Paulet is just really having to drive the car hard here. And I think Abrahamsen, his smooth, and there is Juha Turalba, seemingly, as you indicated, Nico, into the pit lane for some reason that we're not aware of.
No, there was no immediate damage visible from that side, so we will find out after the race. But for now, we focus on what is happening on the track. And Giacomo Rinaldo, he's trying to make it happen. He's following, he's tracking Nobuhiro Imada, watching out for every little mistake, every mishap. Track limits, not much of an issue. Rinaldo actually has 2. Nobuhiro Imada with a clean sheet, so no use in pushing him into a track limit infraction at the moment.
Here is the fight that's going on for P1 in the race, and you can see that Abrahamsen and Paulet are trading sort of times between them. And you made the point, Nico, that it was yesterday where it was kind of at the end of the race where Nicholas Abrahamsen seemed to get almost second wind and find something from somewhere. And I think a lot of it is just mature driving and nursing and nurturing and looking after of one's tyres.
And we're down to 6/10.5, so it's really coming towards ahead here in the final few minutes. Also coming to a head is this battle.
Oh, Giacomo Ronaldo as Nobuhiro Imada tries to make the car a bit wider here. Is Ronaldo going to be able to get the car rotated? Nobuhiro probably carrying a bit too much speed here. Is that going to allow Ronaldo to the inside? No, it isn't. That is Nobuhiro Imada using all of the experience that he has to prevent Giacomo Ronaldo from coming through, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. Entering that turn, I would have probably guessed that Ronaldo might exit that as the leader in this battle, but Nobuhiro Imada, he made exactly the right move, braked at exactly the right time, nothing to spare, but not a millisecond too late, and he kept the position. It's a long 6.5 minutes plus a lap for Nobuhiro Imada, I have no doubt, but he is embracing the challenge and embracing the battle. Good, fair fighting between the two of them. Exactly what we want to see.
Yes, and it is commonplace in the Ferrari Challenge. Good, fraught but fair fighting between the two drivers. We're just keeping an eye on the lead battle as well, where the gap between Paula and Abrahamsen is 9/10 of a second. There's Nobuhiro Imada then running P2 in the Pirelli AM drivers. Giacomo Ronaldo, who is running P3, but this is Nicholas Abrahamsen then. What can he do in the 5.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining to unseat and unsettle Sergio Paula still further? Not sure. I think Paula has driven well, and so too as Abrahamsen. They're so evenly matched, Nico.
Indeed, and again, the level of experience is significantly different. There is a little bit of a sideways moment, and here it is again, the same battle once more. I think now Ronaldo is a little bit further ahead, but it's not enough.
I think also Nobuhiro Imada is doing everything he can to make the car as wide as possible and deny Giacomo Ronaldo. I think it's got to the stage now between that particular battle where it's a question of when, not if. That's just my opinion.
Ooh, I think Nobuhiro Imada might take exception to that.
Yeah,
he is going to be the one. I'm not letting this challenge get to me. He just suffered his first track limit infraction, but he's still got 2 in hand if he needs them. 4.5 minutes. It's about this battle as well. It's for the lead of the race overall. It's the lead for Pirelli.
Oh, Abrahamsen, look. He couldn't, he had to dial out of that rather than make contact with the Sergio Paula car ahead. I mean, he really has done almost a duplicate copy of what he did yesterday in terms of waiting until the end of the race to viper-like pounce on his prey ahead. And that is what he's doing. Just 2/10 and a bit between Paula and Abrahamsen. Between Imada and Ronaldo, it's 7/10 now. So over the timing lane once again to put another lap in the book. We've got 3.75 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race.
And with the lap times that we have, that probably translates to 4 laps. I think Sergio Paula might be able to say, well, 2 is enough, but he will have to do the full distance as things stand for sure. And the gap is still, it's not a lot. It is striking distance almost.
Oh, Paula's car looking vulnerable, Nico. And this is where I think Abrahamsen has the slight advantage. I just think he's been a little bit smoother and therefore can rely on just a little bit more grip from his car perhaps than Sergio, which, to take nothing away from Sergio, he's having to drive within what is available to him, and he's doing so very, very well. So Paula to Abrahamsen, and then it's the Imada Ronaldo battle that we are enjoying as well. And the gaps between the fight for P1 and P2 and P2 and P3 in the AMs is almost identical. The gaps between the two drivers. As you can see, Abrahamsen, look, he's just able to accelerate. He's got more traction. And Sergio Paula now having to make the car very wide. Now he can ill afford to make just one mistake through the final turn, because you really rather feel that Abrahamsen is just ready to pounce. Now, Abrahamsen carries a lot of speed, but I don't think he's close enough to be able to dive to the inside line and try and move going into turn number one. He gets the benefit of the slipstream off the back of the Sergio Paula car. But sure enough, Paula is able to clean pair of heels Abrahamsen through the first sequence of turns. And that is Giacomo Rinaldo on Nobuhiro Imada after lap of trying. And respect to both of the drivers, very clean battle between them. And through goes Rinaldo on Nobuhiro Imada. Is Abrahamsen going to be able to repeat the feat that has been shown by the AM drivers? He's running out of time to do it, Nico. He's got 1.25 minutes plus 1 lap.
Yeah, indeed, but that translates to 2.5 laps if my memory or my counting is correct. Giacomo Rinaldo, you were right. The move came and it happened. Giacomo Rinaldo, however, it came at the cost of having garnered his final freebie in terms of track limit infraction. So he's at 3 and he can ill afford a 4th. So he has to be really, really clean and tidy now. If he can build a gap towards Imada, that would really play in his hands.
Well, let's see if he's able to do that. Right now, Sergio Paula, you cannot help but feel, is really going to feel the cosh of Abrahamsen now as he tries everything he can to maintain the pressure on the Sergio Paula car driver combo from Arnico Rapato Corsa Ram ahead of him. The Formula Racing driver Nicholas Abrahamsen making his debut, I hasten to add, in the Ferrari Challenge. Now he is going to cross the timing line to start a further lap, which means there is the remainder of this lap plus 1 more before the end of this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. So Abrahamsen has got this lap plus 1 more to exact a move on the car ahead of him. And so far, Paula has been able to deny. But Abrahamsen is getting ever closer here, almost side by side. And you can see that it is as close can be. Into turn 5. Well, Paula just knows when to brake in the Live Championship. 152 points for Sergio Paula, 107 for Max Mugelli, who we've hardly seen in this race. Max Mugelli running P3 in Pirelli. So Sergio Paula, elbows out. Abrahamsen, lights perpetually flashing, trying to break the concentration of Sergio Paula. This has been a masterful drive from Sergio, to be fair, to absorb this pressure like a sponge for lap after lap after lap, and he's going to have to do it for 1 more lap after this one. Nicholas Abrahamsen, really young driver, but dare I say it, young as he slides the car, young with a fairly wise head on his shoulders as well, because he's not driven in a way that has perhaps threatened both of them with a bold and ambitious move anywhere. And I just think that probably driving as hard as he has over the last few laps, he's taken enough out of his rubber now for Sergio Paula just to breathe a sigh of relief for a moment, I would think, because we are on the final lap. And you can see now that as these two have fought and fought, so Michael Verhagen, who is the leading AM driver, is almost on the bumper of them.
Indeed, and Michael Verhagen, quiet race for him for the most part, fairly on his own in terms of Pirelli AM drivers. I think you're right. I think Sergio Paula, now he has been able to stretch the lead just a little bit. We've seen a mistake from him earlier in the race, but knowing Sergio Paula, very, very unlikely for that to happen again. And but as you say, Abrahamsen on his debut, so mature, so strong. There is so much talent in him. We can only hope that next year we will see him for a full campaign, and you wouldn't put anything beyond him.
Yeah, it would be great to see Abrahamsen continue this season as well before starting a full campaign next year, and I really, really hope the powers that be from his team of Formula Racing are able to sort it so that we will see him once again in Hungary and in Barcelona, because he has really, really impressed. And whilst, you know, he may be just a little bit disappointed that he's not been able to convert his really good qualifying into a race win, when you're up against a driver with the skill set of Sergio Paula, I think he's, well, Nicholas Abrahamsen it's been a really commendable effort from him, and a very clean and tidy effort from both of the drivers as well, as they have but a few meters of tarmac to run now to see the checkered flag. It is 2 out of 2 for Sergio Paula, but a brilliant debut from Nicholas Abrahamsen. Michael Verhagen wins for the AM drivers, and it will be Giacomo Rinaldo that will take P2 for the AM drivers, but he will be some 10 seconds behind Michael Verhagen. There is Giacomo Rinaldo ahead of Nobuhiro Amada. Then it is Max Mugelli. Well, I have to say, hats off to the two big battles that we watched there, which were between Sergio Paula and Nicholas Abrahamsen, and between Giacomo Rinaldo and Nobuhiro Imada. Awesome driving, everyone. Well done. Clean, tidy driving. And Michael Verhagen is our winner in Trofeo Pirelli AM.
Wow, that was quite a race, and it shows that sometimes you don't need all the amount of overtakes to make a race exciting. It was very, very tense. Certainly the last 10-15 minutes, everything really threatened. And yeah, you said it all. Great, respectful driving from the Ferrari Challenge here in Portimão. We've got 4 more races of this class and championship to do, and the next 2 will be Budapest. The final ones will be Barcelona, and really looking forward to those, because if it's anything like this race, it's going to be tense all the way. Sergio Paulet, however, takes maximum points haul from this race and from this weekend, which is doing his championship aspirations a whole lot of good.
We need to shout out as well to Thomas Nunes Franco, Nico, because of course on his debut in the Ferrari Challenge, it's a fantastic debut as well, taking a P3 and a P4. So podium in your first race in the Ferrari Challenge, and then backing it up with a P4. I mean, those debutants this weekend, what a weekend they have had. Well done to them. I really hope that we see them in Budapest and also in Barcelona. But well done to Sergio Paula. In the end, he crossed the timing line with just 3.5 tenths ahead of Nicholas Abrahamsen. Here is Sergio Paula then. Back to winning ways, 2 out of 2 this weekend. He'll be pretty happy with that for the Inico Reparto Corsa Ram driver. And I just hope that he and Niklas embrace each other at the end of that race, because they delivered a fantastic race.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. The way that they fought, very respectful.
Yes.
I have no doubt that they will celebrate with their teams, but they will come and find each other.
Hope so, because that really is the spirit of the Ferrari Challenge. Sergio's had to work hard, and Niklas and his family, you should be very proud of your boy. Martin Nelson there, former Ferrari Challenge driver, and of course, boss of the Outer Roper organization. And there it is, Nobuhiro Imada, and Nobuhiro Imada and Giacomo Rinaldo and Michael Verhagen all down there, and Michael Verhagen and Nobuhiro Imada having a hug, and that's really, as I said, it's the spirit of the Ferrari Challenge, Nico, and I'm not delighted to mention that, because I think that is what it's all about. There's Nicholas Abrahamsen. And Max Mugelli, we can see right now, removing his balaclava. Sarah is there to say congratulations. And yeah, really nice to see. Just in the background, you pointing out that Sergio Paula and Nicholas Abrahamsen having a quiet hug together and saying, well done, great race. Sergio Paula taking the win from Nicholas Abrahamsen. Michael Verhagen wins ahead of Giacomo Ronaldo and Nobuhiro Amada. Then it was Max Mugelli with another P3 podium. Thomas Nunes-Franco, another great debut. Danilo Del Favaro, Otto Blanken. Real shame for Juha Turalba, who ended up not being able to complete the race for some reason because he'd shown great prowess and promise. We're going to be hearing from Sergio Paulet and discovering just how hard he had to work at the end of the race to hold on to that lead, because he was really being pressured by Nicholas Abrahamsen. So Sergio normally gives us a full and frank answer, that's for sure, comprehensive, and let's hear from him now. The driver of the number 1 car from Arnico, Reparto Corsa Ram, race winner, Sergio Paulet.
Sergio, what a super weekend for you here in Portimão. 2 pole position and 2 victory as you play, and you made a very clear race. You started in a solitary way, but at the end you defend your position.
Yeah, it was much more complicated than yesterday, honestly. I tried at the beginning to push, to make a big gap, and I did it. Everything was perfect, was going good, I was feeling comfortable, but suddenly the tires felt like a little bit down, so I had a massive mistake in one of the fast corners, which I usually make flat. Had a massive mistake there, so I lost like 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds, and then I started to get nervous because I didn't feel the car. Like the feeling was a little bit worse than in the beginning, so I felt the tires going down, and at the end I just wanted to manage like the race with the guys behind. So my rival was pushing me a lot, but I finally managed to defend and get the win, which feels amazing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well done, Sergio Paulet, then back to winning ways. We're also going to hear, of course, from our race winner in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli AM category, and that's Michael Verhagen. Yesterday, I'm laughing. Michael was literally driving the race on the steel bands because the rubber from the tyres had been completely wiped out. That's how hard it pushed it in qualifying and in the race. But today, he's back to winning ways. He has taken victory. Let's hear right now from Michael Verhagen, winner of the Pirelli AM race.
Michael, congratulations, another important result for you. Can you tell us more about your strategy for race 2 and in general about your weekend?
Yeah, again, to finish with maximum points in the last race is of course perfect. The goal was just keep the points, don't get home with 0. So because if you have two do not finish, then you're back on same level with the number 2. So I would like to remain the gap. So yesterday I had an unlucky qualify. Did a spin. It took a lot of efforts from the quality of the tires. So had to manage it in race 1. It was not so good. So at the end I had 0 tires. So went from P1 to P6. And today I was only focused on managing the tires, even with quali. Only 1 push lap, set a time. Luckily it was P1 directly, so tried to manage complete race, and it was much better than yesterday, so I'm happy.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Okay, thank you.
Well done, Michael Verhagen. Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race 2 of the weekend. Sergio Paulet from pole position. Let's go racing. Great start from Nicholas Abrahamsen, then chasing down. Good start also from Michael Verhagen, Pirelli AM driver, through into P2 in the race overall. Good start too from Nobuhiro Amada. Everyone chasing through the first sequence of turns, and Juha Turalba then right from the back of the pack. He's picking the cars off one by one. Juha Turalba then the Emil Frey Racing München driver. Danilo Del Favaro next in his target sights here. And Juha Turalba going through. Lots going on wherever you look on the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers. Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen. AM drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen. Strive for the race leader, Sergio Paulet. That was a huge save. Playing into the hands of Nicholas Abrahamsen, making his race debut this weekend. Here comes Giacomo Rinaldo on Nobuhiro Imada. And this is for the lead in Trofeo Pirelli AM. It's for P2 in Trofeo Pirelli AM. As Giacomo Rinaldo did go through to pick up P2, but it would be Sergio Paulet that would win the race for Pirelli. Michael Verhagen would win for Pirelli AM.
And now the trophy.
Here comes the podium for our Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers.
Third on the podium, Max Mugelli.
Here comes Max Mugelli, the CDP Eureka competition driver who takes
Second
P3.
driver on the podium, Niklas Abrahamsen.
Here comes Nicholas Abrahamsen
And
then.
the winner is Sergio Paulet.
And on the top step of the podium, Sergio Paulet.
Team Ineco Reparto Corse Ram on the podium.
What a race. Ineco Reparto Corsa Ram,
Now
of course,
we are ready for the
represented.
national anthem from Spain.
And here comes the national anthem.
Nostro applauso, our claps for the winners, and the trophy are presented by Miguel Molina, Ferrari
factory driver Miguel Molina is here to make the trophy
Max
presentations.
Max and Miguel.
And Max Mugelli in receipt of his trophy.
Niklas Abrahamsen. Miguel Molina.
Nicholas Abrahamsen.
And
What
Miguel
a fantastic debut
for the
this
winner
weekend in the Ferrari Challenge.
from Spain, Sergio Paulet.
And Sergio Paulet then takes the race winner's
And the
trophy.
for Ineco Reparto Corse Ram, Miguel Molina. And now Lucio
Ineco
Vergani, Pirelli
Reparto
Activities
Corsa Ram
Coordinator, Ferrari Program.
Takes
Lucio
the
Vergani.
Copa Team trophy.
presents
Lucio
the
Vergani then,
for
Pirelli
Sergio
Activities
Paulet.
Coordinator for the Ferrari program. Makes the Pirelli trophy presentation also
Now
to Sergio
Sergio
Paulet.
Miguel, team manager on the podium. All
Everyone together on the
drivers,
top step of the podium
for
then.
photos
Well, they
and
won't
picture
all
from,
fit on the top
Algarve,
step, to
from,
be honest, but
Portimão circuit.
make the best of it.
Please, driver.
Who will be winning the champagne
Lift your
race?
trophy, okay.
Sergio Paulet. I have no doubt.
Amazing. Okay, and now the guests can leave the podium, and now
Sergio Paulet for the champagne. I think he just shaded it ahead of Nicholas Abrahamsen, but it was close. Super slow-mos to the top three then for CDP Eureka competition. Max Mugelli takes P3. For Formula Racing, Nicholas Abrahamsen. Credit to him, he took P2 and came very, very close to taking P1. He's had a fantastic debut weekend. Hopefully, he will be back for more in the Ferrari Challenge. Sergio Paulet, though, his dominance at times in this 2026 season has been rejuvenated. He's always there or thereabouts, but this weekend he's gone back to those winning ways by taking 2 out of 2. Great driving from Sergio Paulet. In the Drivers' Championship, he is 46 points clear of Max Mugelli. Luke Zazato's missing this weekend, is P3 in the championship ahead of Fernando Monche and then Hendrik Viol. So that's the way it looks for our Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship. Up next, of course, they will be heading to Budapest in Hungary. So we're standing by for our Pirelli AM podium, where we will see Nobuhiro Imada taking P3, Giacomo Rinaldo taking P2. Great camaraderie between those two drivers. Great job done.
Verhagen.
And Michael Verhagen on the top step of the podium.
Team Ferrari Varsavia.
And Ferrari Warsaw, of course, represented on the podium
National
also.
anthem.
Here comes the anthem.
Il nostro applauso, claps for the winners. And the
Photographs
trophy
being taken then,
are
and
presented
trophies
by
once again to be
Miguel
presented by
Molina, our
Miguel Molina,
official
our
Ferrari factory driver.
Ferrari
The
factory driver
trophy
who's here in
for
attendance this weekend.
Nobuhiro Imada, third on the podium.
Nobuhiro Imada is in receipt of his
And,
P3
for
trophy.
the second driver on the podium from Italy, the young driver Giacomo Rinaldo.
Giacomo Rinaldo then in receipt of his trophy.
A big work for Michael Molina, the winner. Michael Verhagen.
Michael Verhagen then
Miguel.
is in receipt of yet another
And
race
the
winner's trophy.
for
Lovely
the
trophies
team,
here
team
this
manager
weekend.
Ferrari Varsavia. And now is the Pirelli moment. Lucio Vergani.
Lucio Vergani is here from Pirelli. He is head of Ferrari
Miguel
activities
Verhagen. Lucio Vergani,
for
Pirelli
the Ferrari
activities
program. He makes the
coordinator
trophy
Ferrari
presentation to
program.
Michael Verhagen.
Thank you, Lucio. Thank you, Miguel.
Who's
Thank you,
gonna
team
win the,
manager on the
champagne
podium,
race?
all together. And the
Well, by
driver.
dint of the fact that Giacomo Ronaldo and Nobuhiro Imada have only got one
Present your
trophy to
trophy,
hold, I think that gives them a
Okay.
slight advantage over Michael Verhagen when it comes to the champagne. But then when it comes to race strategy,
Thank you for
there is an
your
argument that says, what the heck do you know,
And then,
Dave?
is
And maybe
a
that's true.
champagne
Let's see.
moment, battle
It is
of
Ronaldo.
champagne.
Giacomo Ronaldo wins the champagne race. This is the Formula Racing car of Nobuhiro Imada, which took Nobuhiro to P3 on the podium. For Rosso Corsa, Giacomo Ronaldo, with a phenomenal weekend in the number 75 car, takes P2. And then back to winning ways for the driver from Ferrari Warsaw. A different livery this weekend as he drives all black, and that is Michael Verhagen, victorious in race 2 here in Portimão. Well done, Michael. So in the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship, this is the way it looks. Michael Verhagen with 46 points ahead of Giacomo Ronaldo. Then it is Danilo Del Favro and Nobuhiro Imada. We've got 4 races still to come. There are still quite a lot of points to be awarded. It is far from all over yet in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am, but Michael's definitely in a commanding position, but it's not insurmountable. We have had a phenomenal weekend here in Portimão. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed delivering it to you. From the entire crew here, from a broadcast point of view, thank you for watching. Please join us when we go Ferrari Challenge Racing next, which will be in Hungary. But from Portimão, for now, from all of us, bye-bye.